Hello everyone. My topic is opioid analgesics and antagonists. So basically analgesics are the drugs that are used to relieve the pain sensation. These are the drugs that act through the central nervous system and they never cause the loss of consciousness. They are grouped into two. First is opioids or narcotics and the second is non-opioids or NSAIDs, that is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. The NSAIDs, they are structurally different from the steroids. Now, the opioids, they act through the central nervous system and the NSAIDs, they act peripherally. They differ in their mechanism of actions. That is, opioids, they act through the opioid receptors and NSAIDs, they act by inhibiting the enzyme action. They inhibit the cyclooxygenase pathway because of which autocoids are not generated and therefore inflammation is not seen. So the patient is relieved. Opioids, they have dependent liability and the NSAIDs, they do not have dependent liability. Opioids, their example is morphine, and the NSAIDs, their example is paracetamol, ibuprofen, etc. Now, whenever a person experiences pain, the person can tolerate the pain up to some extent because of endogenously secreted opioid analgesics, which are endorphin, dynorphin, enkephalin. And after a certain threshold, after some extent, the patient cannot tolerate the pain. Therefore, opioid analgesics need to be given externally. So these are exogenously given. They can either be natural, semi-synthetic and synthetic. Natural, their example is morphine, codeine. If they are semi-synthetic, their example is ethyl morphine, diacetyl morphine. And synthetic, their example is pethidine, fentanyl, tramadol, methadone, etc. Now, either they are endogenously secreted or exogenously given. Their mechanism of action is same. That is, they act through the opioid receptors, which are of three types. Either it is mu, kappa or delta. Now, mechanism of action in detail is explained as the opioid analgesics, they first bind to the opioid receptors. Because of this binding, there is decreased production of cyclic AMP because there is inhibition of adenyl cyclase enzyme. Because of this, there is alteration in opening of potassium ion channels. This will lead to hyperpolarization of the membrane and therefore there is decrease in the calcium ion intracellularly. Since there are no calcium ions or decreased number of calcium ions to bind, therefore there is no release of neurotransmitter and the pain sensation is not experienced by the patient. So this is the detailed mechanism of action. Now coming to the classification of opioids, they are either agonist, antagonist, or they can be agonist as well as antagonist. They can have a mixed action. Agonist, these will bind to the opioid receptors and they will give a positive action. Antagonist, they will bind to the opioid receptors and either they will not give an action or they will give an opposite action, opposed action. Agonist, their example is morphine, codeine, pethidine. Antagonist, their example is naloxone, naltrexone. Agonist and antagonist, these are pentazocine and buprenorphine. Now, coming to the pharmacological actions, the opioid analgesics, they act on different systems in the human body. Coming to the first, that is central nervous system. In central nervous system, it causes analgesia. That is, it increases the threshold of pain because it binds to the opioid receptors and the rest mechanism of action that we discussed. In central nervous system, it causes stimulation of three centers. These are, first is the chemoreceptor trigger zone, the CTZ center, because of which there is nausea and vomiting is seen. It stimulates another center, which is Edinger-Westphal nucleus of third cranial nerve, because of which there is constriction of pupil, meiosis is seen. And the third center which is stimulated is a vagal center, because of which bradycardia is experienced by the patient. Now, it inhibits or depresses certain centers. These are cuff center is depressed and the respiratory center is depressed. It also causes the decrease in body temperature. Although it decreases the body temperature, it is not used as antipyretic. For that purpose, NSAIDs are used. And since it acts in the central nervous system, since it acts through the central nervous system, euphoria and sedation is also seen. So these are the pharmacological actions inside the CNS. Now coming to the cardiovascular system, here it causes hypotension because it decreases the vasomotor center in CNS, which leads to decrease in the blood pressure and causes hypotension. It also causes the vasodilatation because whenever opioids are given, it causes release of histamine, and whenever histamine is released, it is being a vasodilator, it will cause vasodilatation. Now, its action on the respiratory system is that it causes the depression of respiratory center, because of which there will be retention of carbon dioxide, and because of which again there will be depression of respiratory center because of feedback action. Coming to the next system, that is gastrointestinal system. Here it decreases the peristaltic movements of GIT, because of which constipation occurs, and also it has biliary activity. It acts on the biliary tract, and there it causes the spasm of the sphincters. Therefore, biliary pain or colicky type of pain it is seen. On kidney, it has an antidiuretic effect, and on bladder and ureter, it increases the tone of detrusor muscle and the bladder, and because of which urinary retention is seen. There is difficulty in micturition. Now, adverse effects. So, adverse effects are extension of the pharmacological actions. So, we have seen that it causes the meiosis, that is constriction of pupil. Extension of that action is that it causes the pinpoint pupil. Now, we have seen that it stimulates the CTZ center inside the CNS, because of which there is nausea as well as vomiting. It depresses the respiratory center, so there is respiratory depression. It decreases the peristaltic movements, because of which constipation is also an adverse effect. Sedation and blurring of vision are other two adverse effects. And the most important here is dependence. It has dependent liability. Therefore, there is dependence which is seen. Now, for this, the drug of choice, for morphine dependence, a drug of choice is a synthetic opioid analgesic, which is methadone. It is preferred because it has a longer duration of action. Therefore, it is given in the morphine dependence. Now, coming to the contraindications of morphine, where morphine should not be used as a drug of choice. These are chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, bronchial asthma, chronic bronchitis. So, in these three conditions, morphine is contraindicated because already there is a respiratory problem, and also the morphine causes respiratory depression. So, in these three conditions, it should be contraindicated. It is contraindicated. Now, it is also contraindicated in extremes of ages, that is pediatric and geriatric age group. It is contraindicated because again it causes respiratory depression, it causes nausea, vomiting, etc. It is contraindicated in hypovolemic shock because it depresses the vasomotor center and leads to the hypotension. So it is contraindicated in hypovolemic shock. It will worsen the case of the patient. In head injury, it is contraindicated because in head injury, already most of the centers inside the central nervous system are depressed, and again if we give the morphine, then more centers will be depressed and we will not be able to judge the progress of the patient. So it is not given in head injury. In case of undiagnosed acute abdomen, it is not given because we are masking the pain of the patient, and the patient we need to diagnose from which quadrant of the abdomen the pain is coming, pain is originating. So first we have to diagnose, and then after diagnosing we can give the morphine or we can give the opioid analgesics. So these are contraindications of morphine. Now coming to the pharmacokinetics. Morphine is the prototype of opioid analgesics. Morphine, it is not used orally because it has a high first pass metabolism. Then because of that, its bioavailability is very less when we give orally. It is only 20 to 30%. So it is not given orally. It is metabolized in liver by glucuronate conjugation, and it is converted into its active metabolite, which is more potent than morphine. And because it is converted into its active metabolite, which is more potent, its risk of toxicity is also increased. It is given parenterally with the dose of 10 to 50 milligram, and it has a lethal dose of 250 milligram, beyond which it should not be given. Now, codeine. Coming to codeine, it is not used as an analgesic, but it is used as an antitussive because it is a cough suppressor. It depresses the cough center. Coming to pethidine or meperidine, it has the mechanism of action which is same as that of the morphine, but certain differences are seen. That is, pethidine, it causes less of constipation, it causes less respiratory depression, then it also causes the less of histamine release. So these are certain differences between pethidine and morphine. Its potency is very less than that of the morphine. It has 1/10 of morphine potency. It is metabolized in liver to produce its metabolite, that is norpethidine. Now this norpethidine, it causes the stimulation of central nervous system, and because it stimulates the central nervous system, its adverse effects are seizures, convulsions. So if a person is having convulsions, then pethidine is contraindicated in that case. Now its dose is 50 to 100 milligram, and it can be given orally as well as parenterally. Now use. It is used to give analgesia in obstetrics patients. Now, because it causes less of respiratory depression, it causes less of constipation, and it do not hampers the uterine contractions, and it has a shorter duration of action. So these are the reasons because of which it is preferred as an analgesic in the obstetric patients. Now, we have already seen that since it causes the CNS stimulation, it is contraindicated in the patient having convulsions. Now, there are some congeners of pethidine, which are fentanyl, remifentanil, loperamide, Lomotil, etc. Now, coming to fentanyl, it is 100 times more potent than morphine. It has certain advantages over morphine also. That is, it causes no respiratory depression, it causes no histamine release, etc. It is used to give or produce neuroleptalgesia. Now, this term it consists of two terms, neuroleptics and analgesics. So neuroleptics are basically antipsychotic drugs and analgesics. So it is used to produce this kind of condition which is called as neuroleptalgesia. In this condition, the patient is sedative, but the patient can answer to our commands. So it is this neuroleptalgesia. Now coming to tramadol, this is a synthetic derivative of codeine, which is used as an antitussive. Now, mechanism of action, it inhibits the uptake of 5-HT, that is serotonin, and it should not be given with monoamino oxidase inhibitors, that is MAO inhibitors. It should not be given. Why? Because if we give it along with monoamino oxidase inhibitors, then it will cause exaggeration of the sympathetic nervous system. It will cause increase in the blood pressure, increase in heart rate, and this kind of condition where the sympathetic nervous system is exaggerated is known as cheese reaction. So it should not be given with monoamino oxidase inhibitors. It can be given orally as well as parenterally with a dose of 50 to 100 milligram. Now, coming to therapeutic uses of opioid analgesics, from their pharmacological actions, which we can figure out their therapeutic uses, they are used to give analgesia in severe type of pain. Here morphine is given acute myocardial infarction. Morphine is given in acute myocardial infarction to relieve the pain, to relieve anxiety, to relieve the fear. So for these conditions, morphine is given in acute myocardial infarction. In terminal stage of cancer, morphine is given as a palliative treatment. It improves the quality of life of patient. It is given as a symptomatic treatment, but it is not completely curative. Now, second, the opioid analgesics, they can be used as antidiarrheal drugs. We have just seen that the congeners of pethidine, that is loperamide and Lomotil, these are used as antidiarrheal drugs because they decrease the gastric movements, they decrease the peristaltic movements, and they can be used as an antidiarrheal drugs. In acute left ventricular failure or acute pulmonary edema, again we can use the opioid analgesics or morphine. Now, morphine here, it does 3 to 4 actions. First, it relieves pain, it reduces anxiety, reduces fear, and morphine, it causes vasodilatation. When there is vasodilatation, the blood from the center, it will move to periphery, because of which the load on the ventricles, the load on the pulmonary system will be decreased, and therefore the edema, pulmonary edema, will be relieved. Now, it is also used as a pre-anesthetic medication in order to smoothen the process of anesthesia. But after the surgery or after the operative procedure is done, the patient will have nausea, the patient will have vomiting, and the patient will have pupillary constriction. So because of the pupillary constriction, we cannot judge the progress of patient. So nowadays, it is not used as a pre-anesthetic medication. Now, it is used as an antitussive. Codeine, it is used as antitussive because it suppresses the cough, it depresses the cough center in central nervous system. So it is used as antitussive. Now coming to opioid agonists and antagonists. So they have the mixed action. First, that is pentazocine. It has an agonistic action on kappa receptor. So there were 3 opioid receptors, mu, kappa, and delta. So out of which on kappa receptor, pentazocine has an agonistic action, and it has a weak antagonistic action on mu receptors. So because of their action on both receptors, kappa receptor and mu receptor, it is used as both antagonist as well as agonist. And it causes disorientation and hallucination. It increases the heart rate and it increases the blood pressure as well. Coming to buprenorphine, it is a partial agonist to mu receptor. Now, antagonist. They bind to the opioid receptor but do not give an action or give an opposed action. These are naloxone, which is used parenterally, and naltrexone, which is used orally. Now, since they have opposed action, they can be used in morphine poisoning. They can be used to treat acute morphine poisoning, and they are also used to treat alcohol-dependent patients. Now, coming to a point, that is something which is called as morphine toxicity. Whenever there is overdose, it causes toxicity. Now, why toxicity of morphine is common? First, because it has a dependent liability. That is, a patient becomes dependent on morphine like drugs and gets addicted to it, and therefore a large amount of morphine is consumed by the patient, because of which obviously overdose will be there and it will cause toxicity. So this is something because of which there is toxicity. There is another reason, that the morphine, it is converted by glucuronate conjugation into its active metabolite in liver, which is more potent. So because of that more potent active metabolite synthesized in liver, the toxicity is increased more. The risk of toxicity is increased more. Now coming to the treatment of morphine toxicity. The opioid antagonist